So Net Promoter Score, for anybody who doesn't know, is essentially it's that question: how likely are you to recommend our brand to others? And you ask your customers at various points in the journey, and they'll score you on a scale from 0 to 10 based on how likely they are to recommend you, with promoters being your 9s and your 10s, detractors anything under 6, and your neutrals are your 7s and your 8s. And essentially, all of those scores combine to make your Net Promoter Score. The Net Promoter Score is something that so many brands use. It is sort of an industry standard, and as I say, it can be a good place to start. If you've got no data, we would always say talking to your customers and asking for feedback in any way is better than none at all. But actually, I think it's really important to recognise that as a standalone question, the Net Promoter Score question will not get you what you need to know to improve your business. It will just give you a score you can potentially brag about.
Right. Okay.
And if you do more with it, so when I worked at Purple Bricks, we did more with it. We had the Net Promoter Score, and anybody who scored a 7 or under, we phoned immediately to say what went wrong, how could we have improved. So you can use it as a good starting point. Yeah. But essentially, we don't love the question because it's just not about the customer, it's about the business.
That's a really interesting way of looking at it. And I know you guys work with other types of surveys, and you'll build bespoke surveys for companies to really get an understanding and actually get useful information for that business, because all businesses are different, and what's useful for my business won't necessarily be useful for a company selling widgets or whatever, or a travel company or something. It's all relative, isn't it? And you guys will work with a company to actually make sure they're getting useful data that they can do something with. So
absolutely, it's about knowing what your objectives are and helping you get to them.
I think just to come back to the question about the NPS, is that if you're in a position as a business where you've got a lot of customers, or you've had a lot of customers and they've never been surveyed at all, asking them an imperfect question in an imperfect way is much better than not asking anything at all. So anything going out to your customers en masse, just to find out a little bit of their sentiment. If you're thinking that you want to embark on some sort of improvement program, it kind of got to start with that. If you haven't been doing it routinely for a year or two, so you haven't got that data there, you've just got to ask the question.
What I would just say, to add a small caveat to that, is yes, ask the question, but if you can, before you ask the question, scrutinise it to ask yourself, does this inspire confidence in my brand? Would I, if I was reading this question as a customer, would this question make me feel happier about the brand I'm working with, or would it make me potentially feel a little bit used, a little bit like my valued opinion wasn't so valued? So just think about the question before you send it, but once you've thought about it, get it out there. Just start asking the question. Do not be afraid of the answers, because it is that better the devil you know. Once you know you've got a problem, you can fix it. If you don't know, you could be losing customers you had no idea you were losing.
Yeah, exactly. And James Ashford always says version 1 is better than version none. And I like that saying.
Me too.
Start somewhere.